Hey guys, what's up? I'm Georgie. On all my social media or any way to find me, you could just search at Georgie Be Humble. I'm pretty much that name on everything I could think of, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, you name it. So that's exactly how to contact me. I have a little story to tell you guys about 2014. Let's start off with January. That month, totally crazy. Let's start off with the fact that I got my own apartment. Well, actually, I rented a room in an apartment, but same thing. It was my space, my thing. I was doing it all by myself with my son. Also, I was working a full-time job. You know what that means? 40 hours a week and money. Money was coming in from everywhere. Also, I finally got accepted to my dream school, Baruch. Who wouldn't want to go to one of the top business schools in New York that, because of financial aid, you get for free? I sure did. Um, yeah, so January is a really good month. My son turned 2 that month. Everything was just right on track. Perfecto. Okay, February now. February was a little bit more shaky than January. Well, I transferred stores and I demoted myself to be part-time in work because it was taking up too much time. With the fact that I was full-time in school, full-time at work, and a full-time mommy, I didn't have any real time to do anything. So I transferred to a store that was close to my house. I moved to a store in the Bronx, and I also demoted myself to being a part-time assistant manager, which is kind of like a step lower than a full-time sales associate, but it was a little different. And I was a little bit struggling in classes, trying to get accustomed to the new school, new environment, new people, new everything. March, I hit the mud. Everything was like even more shaky than February. It was just like I was in a tornado and everything was spinning out of place. Um, I got stuck and I had no choice. I had to go down to the Human Resources Department and apply for food stamps because my checks weren't adding up. The fact that I demoted myself was a very steep pay cut, and I figured, with working, I would make it back up, but the hours weren't there, the enthusiasm wasn't there, and the fact that I had no time. I was like working on school, working on building a relationship with my son, and working. It was just, ah. April. That's when everything hit the fan. Like, April was like the scariest month of this year. Um, in February and March leading up to April, I was experiencing time to time little panic attacks, stress attacks where when something didn't go right or I was late with a bill or something was messing up, I would begin to stress and I would just start freaking out. I'd like not know what to do. And within that few minutes of realizing that I was stuck, my breath would feel like there was someone choking me and I couldn't breathe. Like it would be a struggle to just think or talk or anything, and literally these panic attacks would leave me crying and just not knowing what to do. I'd be completely freaked out. Then in April, that's when I had like the biggest panic attack where after going 2 days with only 6 hours of sleep because I was doing a lot of schoolwork, working, errands, chores, doing stuff with my son, I laid down for the first time after 2 days with 6 hours of sleep in total, and I started shaking. I don't know why I started shaking. It was really scary. It started from my feet and then the shaking went up and up, and before I knew it was like my whole body was shaking uncontrollably. I started to cry. I went into another panic attack. My chest started closing up. I did not know what to do. And so the first thing was like, call my mom. I called my mom and she's like, your body doesn't know how to react to the fact that you've finally laid down and you're taking time to rest because you've been on the go, on the go, on the go so long that now that you've finally taken the time out to relax, your body is reacting negatively. It's like, no, we're working still. Like my body didn't know how to respond to that. So that was real scary. I was depressed, very depressed. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to do anything. I just felt like this was the end. Like all motivation, all enthusiasm was just gone. Literally, for February, I was blogging all the other months for January, February, March, I was blogging. April, I have no blogs, like not even one blog. I even had to drop a math class at school. Everything was just hitting the fan. Like this was the point where I couldn't handle it anymore. I couldn't take it. I didn't know what to do. May, I came to a very harsh realization that things had to change. After that big panic attack in April, I couldn't do it anymore. I had to fix it because not only was I worried about myself, I was worried about my son, my family, who would take care of him, who, when I was gone, and if I stressed myself out to the point of no turning back, if I went into too much depression, what would happen to us? What would happen to myself? What would happen to him? I had to fix everything. So the first step I took was that working at the store I was working at was not what it needed to be. So I first found another job and I ended up quitting that job. Then I also tried to save every class possible, which didn't really work out so well as I failed the class. I literally got a B, a C, a D, and an F, which ended up in a 1.5 GPA. Yeah, not so good. But the fact that I recognized that there was a problem, that was like the biggest thing ever, because now I could start solving that problem. And May was the month. June. June was like a continuation of May. Once I figured out what was wrong, I started figuring out more solutions to fixing this problem so that I would stay positive and stay happy and stay focused. I don't know if I mentioned in March that I had applied for food stamps. I think I mentioned it, but I didn't mention that I got denied. I didn't get accepted, which I think also strung up to the April panic attack because I had no funds, I had no resources, I had nothing. So in June, I decided to reapply for, go to HRA and reapply for food stamps. And this time I got it, which was a really big help because I was working a part-time job, a seasonal part-time job, making pretty much minimum wage. So that helped out a lot. I started getting back on track, figuring out what am I going to do to make sure that this thing that happened in February and this thing that happened in April never happens again. Like that was what June was all about, like setting goals, setting my plan up, and that was June. July was all about putting my plan into action. So the first step I took was that I reread Choose Yourself by James Altucher. That's a book that I read the year before on my Kindle app, but I started the daily practice. That's the thing that he practices, and I did it for about a month, 2 months, and then I said, oh, I'm a pro at this. Let me not read the rest of the book. Let me not even finish it. So I never finished that, and I kind of lost track of the daily practice because I just threw it away, thought I was a pro at it, which was not a good idea. So in July, I reread Choose Yourself, and after I read that, it was just like, this was the time I needed to read this book because it just gave me so much insight on myself and that I needed to be healthier. I needed to do better, do things differently. After reading Choose Yourself, still broke, very broke, had no funds. I actually shot an email to James Altucher and asking him for a copy of his second book that came out sometime like in the late July. I think sometime in July. And because I couldn't afford it, it was called The Power of No. I felt, okay, just to Choose Yourself, The Power of No sounds like a book that I need to read because I was all about saying yes to everyone, and maybe that was what got me to some of my issues. These two books were like the world open up, and I would recommend all of his books to anybody in the world that just wants. It's good for everyone, any age. I also realized like even more of the problems that I was having and started setting out better plans, setting out better methods because I realized I had to change. There was no choice or no going back. It was only going forward from this point on, and I wanted that. I needed that in order to survive. Like it was a life and death situation. It was no longer a game. This was my life that I had to fix in order for myself and my son to have a good life and for us to be successful and happy and just good. August. I don't know. Okay, so back to a couple months ago, I forgot which month I said it was, that I April. Yeah, April I removed the math class because I was failing. I got an opportunity to take the math class again in the summertime for free. So that's what I did in August for the entire month of August. And I think a little bit of July, I was going to the summer program. The teacher was awesome. And finally, I passed the class with for free, which was a blessing on top of blessings. The seasonal job I had was not cutting it. Minimum wage was not cutting it due to all the expenses I had with childcare, food, housing. Like, I still lived on my own. I still had a son that was in school every day. I still had a mouth to feed. I had my mouth to feed, and it wasn't cutting it. So at this time, I applied for full-blown welfare. I had no choice. Sometimes you just have to do what you have to do in order to get where you want to get. And with the struggle that I went through before, it was the only solution that I could think of at the time. Then in August, that was when school started, around like August 28th, I realized that working in Yonkers and going to school on 23rd Street in Manhattan was not a good idea. That transportation was literally an hour and a half or change, depending on if I caught the Metro North or not, and that was not a good decision. Then I applied at the bookstore at my school, got the job there, and I started working at the bookstore cafe. So that was really good. The fact that I was working on campus, going to school on campus, and that I was getting government assistance, everything was like falling into place. Was really good. September. I forgot to mention in August, I found out that because of my terrible grades in my first semester at Baruch, that I was up for academic approval, and I had to submit some documents saying why my GPA was that low, or else I'll lose my financial aid. I have no money to pay for college. Like, I had to figure out what I was going to do. I had to come up and show them documentation of what happened as to why my GPA was terrible. So with the documentation, I ended up submitting the appeal, got approved, thank God. And I also enrolled in therapy for September. So from September, every single Thursday, awesome therapist, I love her. Yeah, the Baruch has like a center right across the street for therapy, so I go there every single Thursday, and I speak to my therapist, connect with her, share, talk, and it's been a blessing. I recommend getting a therapist to every and anyone. You don't need to be crazy or something wrong with you to have a therapist. It's just someone to talk to, someone that you don't know helping you, a professional. Like, it's like a big sister from another mister, I guess. Then my seasonal job, I got let go because it was a seasonal job, temporary job at the bookstore. And the best thing that happened that month, one of the best things, I met James Altucher at a fat startup event. It was so great. Like, meeting this guy that from a distance has been like helping me change my life was one of the best experiences ever. And I also met his wife, Claudia. Love you guys. And that's when I started my process of reading every day, going to events, going to meet people, just trying to build a community of people that went through something, or even if they didn't go through something, people that wanted to do better, to grow, to build, to just experience the world for what it was, and not just be stuck in this little box where we feel like the world is like on our head, on our shoulders, because I know what it feels to be there, and I don't want to be there, and I don't want anybody else to be there either. So that was September. October. For a month that has Halloween, October was very not scary. Actually, October was a really fun month. It was very happy, productive. I was meeting people. I was going to networking events like 2 or 3 a week. I was connecting. I was building communities around myself, and I was just surrounding myself with people of value, creative people, smart people, funny people, people just had ambition, people that just wanted to succeed and be happy, and it made me feel good. I was still getting government assistance. I was not working. It was the first time since I started working that I didn't have a job, and it was the best feeling in the world. And it was just so productive, happy. I don't know. It was just like this. What's the word? Euphoria. I don't know. It was just this great feeling of happiness. Like, who doesn't feel great when they're happy, you know? November rolled around, and it was pretty cool. The one thing I didn't like though was that the fact that I had to start doing this WAP program that comes along with like the welfare program, that I had to, because I was like, there are calculation of hours I needed to do some type of volunteer work. I really didn't mind the volunteer work until I also got accepted to work study at my school. So now I was doing volunteer work Mondays and Wednesdays, and work study Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. My week was like totally gone. On top of that, I had school Monday through Thursday. But there's two awesome things that happened. The first thing was that I went to a hackathon and I met some really great people that I still am in connect with today. Awesome people that just really connected with me. And then I got added to this group called Dreamers and Doers on Facebook. We're doing really great things. It's run by Geisha Haas. Amazing woman. When I tell you this woman is amazing, that's like an understatement. She's just doing all these positive things and building this group of entrepreneurial women where we connect and talk and just embrace each other. I felt at home. And with that motivation behind that group, I decided to create my own group. About a few days later, on November 19th, I created the Choose Yourself group. That's one of like the biggest accomplishments that I've made, because now I have a group of people who've also read Choose Yourself and have also been connecting, building, growing, and following the steps that I follow, and also tweaking the steps, because the steps are not set in stone. You don't have to do every single thing the same way. It's just how you take it and how you understand it and how you embrace that physical health, mental health, spiritual health, and emotional health, because you need those four things in order to be intact. I know it from experience, and it's a scary place when those things are not balancing out, and it's just, you just don't know what to do. So now I have a community of people that we're all helping each other to help ourselves, to help even more people. It's a beautiful group. So I started that back in November. La finale, or late finale, I don't know. December, aka December 13th, I turned 20. Yeah, this whole time I've been 19. Who at 19 goes through all this crap? I don't know, but good luck. Finals. I was really shooken up about that, because who isn't? College student, Baruch student, going through final season. Yeah, I didn't do any drugs. I'm not crazy. I stay away from all those type of things. But really good things happened. I passed all my finals. Thank you, Jesus. And my GPA has been bumped up. I'm still waiting for 2 more grades to come in, but so far I got a B and a B minus. That's way better than B, C, D, F. I started coding. I've always done websites, but I didn't really know coding, so I started coding in December. I started connecting with more people, and I started defining myself about who I am, what my business goals are gonna be, what my educational goals are gonna be, what am I gonna do as my next step? What's 2015 have for me? I also started to build up on myself as an entrepreneur, as a person, as a mom, as a woman, and I've been just like defining myself even more and more each day. But there's one sucky thing that happened in December. With HRA, you're supposed to get recertified every 6 months. As I said before in the video, I got accepted in August, which means I shouldn't have gotten a recertification process until August, September, October, November, December, January. And then so recertification should have been February. And for somehow my recertification was like the first week of December, and I brought in all the documents, but they're saying that I failed to bring in the correct documents, and also because of finals week, interviews, and a lot of different things going on in December, I failed to fax in one of the documents for the days that I missed at the volunteer program. So apparently I've been kicked out of welfare. How does that happen? Well, I don't know. So I'm on my last string kind of right now. So 2015 has to bring me some type of income, because obviously that wasn't working. It was a really good help, and I'm thankful for it, but I'm not one of those people who want to just be accepting assistance for the rest of my life. No, nothing's wrong with it, because it is a process. Because if this didn't happen and I didn't get that help, I wouldn't have been where I am right now. I take everything as like a learning experience. You need each part of your story to be there in order for you to be who you are. That's just how life goes. So yeah, as you can see, 2014, I'm here already skipping a year. 2014 has really been a year for me, and I don't know what 2015 has coming up, but I'm just wishing and praying and hoping for great and wonderful things. And yeah, so I just wanted to share that with you guys. My year 2014. Thank you for watching. If you got this far, just being yourself. Like, just remember that at the end of the day, they could take your money, they could take your clothes, they could take your house, they could take your coat, your car, your boat. They could take everything away from you. But the one thing that could never take away from you is your story. Your story is your story. It's from the day you were born till the day you die. That story is yours, and you have to make it what you want it to be. You can't just make everyone else type your story for you. You have the pencil, and that pencil does have an eraser. So if you feel like there's something you want to remove from your life, go ahead. Remove people, remove things. But your story is yours, and no one, I mean no one, can ever take that away from you, alive or dead. That story is yours. So tell your story. Be honest with it. Be yourself. That's all it comes down to. Be real. Be real.